How you guys doing today? I'm doing great, by the way. Thanks for asking. I know whatever. I was watching this video the other day from Adam Savage. He was giving advice to, I guess, the person that follows him. If you don't know who Adam Savage is, he was one of the co-hosts of Mythbusters. Check out that show. Great show. He was giving advice to one of his followers, fans, whatever it may be, which I'm always happy to answer your questions as well too, and I can always make videos on it. One of his questions resonated with me because I would say I've kind of been trying to figure out what I want to do with my life, my career trajectory, where I want to go. At least that's what I've been thinking about quite a lot, is like, well, what is it that I can do? Because I can do so many different things. I have so many different options. And the answer that he gave really stuck with me. At least it was something that I wanted to explore a little bit further. And he's like, well, what do you do? Like, what do you think about? What is your mind? Like, what takes up most of your mind? What takes up most of your attention? And for some odd reason, the way that he framed it made so much more sense than some other ways that other people have framed it, where it's just like, you want to focus on what, like, wherever your attention goes, your energy flows, which is true. Like, it's a fact. And I've been just trying to figure out, like, well, what type of videos do I want to make? Because clearly I do know that I want to make videos, because I enjoy making videos. I enjoy talking about these things with other people that are interested in hearing about the things that I have to talk about. Having the discussion down in the comment section like we do, which is fantastic. And I never had that beforehand. So, like, I'm always just constantly thinking of, like, different ideas, different ways to innovate, and different ways to improve. Like, that's what I've done for years, is I've basically tried to analyze every conversation that I've ever had with every person that I've ever run into, to make it better, so that the next time I run into that similar conversation or a similar person or a similar situation, I'm able to handle it better the second time than I was able to handle it the first time. The way that I have done that, and that I have continued to do that, is by, one, imagining myself as I am a third person, viewing myself from, like, the above, like watching over myself, have that interaction, or two, replaying the scenario in my head in the way that I wish that it would have happened. Which, by doing so, if you know this, cool. If not, no worries. When you replay that scenario in the way that you wish it would have happened, that technically is the way that it actually did happen. Because, like, our brains cannot differentiate between what is real and what is imagined. Like, just think about dreaming. It just can't. So, like, these are things that I think about. It's just like, what is our actual existence in this reality? Are any of us real? Are any of us here? Like, do you actually exist? Do I exist? And you can be like, well, yeah, you do, because I'm watching this video. But it's like, yeah, but I don't know that. Like, I don't know who's watching these videos. I don't know where you're at. I don't know how these things are going. It's like, these are thoughts that are constantly in the back of my mind. Not as much as they once were. They were for a while when I first found out, like, about a lot of these different ways of viewing the world. I was like, oh, okay, so a lot of it, everything is quite literally just our perception. And we can create anything out of thin air whenever we want to if we're on the right vibrational frequency. Which that tripped me out a lot. So I was like, that was fun. That was another thing that I've constantly thought about. And I know I'm doing a lot of, like, shoulder shrugs, because I'm like, I don't know what I think about a lot of the times. Because a lot of the times, like, I'm just in the present. Like, that's really all it is. Like, I'm just in the present, focusing on my breath, focusing on the task that I'm doing, focusing on the conversation that I'm having, focusing on the person that I'm talking to, focusing on maybe the TV show, that video that I'm editing, the data that I'm acquiring. Like, I'm just focused on that said thing. So I'm just thinking about that. But there's all these other processes going on in the background, because there's this book called Psycho-Cybernetics, which, if you've never heard of it, highly recommend it. But basically the author goes into this concept that we are kind of computers, which in a sense we are computers. Like, and if you know what a computer does, like, let's say you're exporting a YouTube video, or you're exporting some task, or you're trying to run a program or something along those lines, our brains do that exact same thing, because you got to think about it. Where did computers come from in the first place? They came from our brains. They came from our minds. So it's just a reflection of our mind in the best way that can be. It's like our minds have this ability to have this task, set a task, and then be able to be like, all right, I'm going to go out and acquire or get this information and have this task come back to me. But sometimes we have to go through that, like, little processing period. Oh, sorry about that. But that's where it's just like, those are things that I constantly think about. Like, I'll set the task, and then I'll set it, and I'll let it just go out and do its thing, and then whenever it needs to come back, it'll come back with the word, the phrase, the lesson, the person, whatever it is that I needed it to come back with. And from there, and then I can continue moving forward and thinking about other things. So, like, the other thing that I think about a lot too is my relationships. Like, how can I have better relationships? How can I maintain better relationships? How can I find a wife? How can I start dating? How can I figure out, like, why her eyes look so special that day? Like, why they're glistening so much? Like I think about those things, and it's always like in the back of my mind of like, there's something about her that day. Do I know what it was? No, not really. I do though. Like I just have a feeling. There was just a feeling, because like even a couple days later, I don't know if you've ever heard of the song Dandelion. You can call it gay, whatever it is. I don't really give a shit. But like I was listening to the song, and it's a good song. It's a good song. I was like, this is neat, and I enjoyed it. Is there anything wrong with that? No, there isn't, because we all have our own unique individual perspectives and tastes, and those are other thoughts that I have thought about a lot as well too. Is like, oh, what is this person gonna think? How are they gonna perceive these things? And I'm just like, people are just gonna perceive me in the way that they perceive themselves, because a lot of people, they don't know me. They just know me from maybe one video. Unless you continually come back every single day, then you probably get a better grasp of who I am, which if that is something that you want to do, I highly recommend subscribing to the channel if you aren't already. And I'll also just let you know too, like I have started selling some like apparel, and that's linked down in the description. If you want to cop some, by all means, go for it. These are the things that I'm thinking about quite a bit. How can I phrase these better? How can I be of better service to you? How can I provide these videos that are more informative, that are more informational, that are more inspirational, that are more motivational? How can I give you new information that you might not have originally had? How could I save you time so you don't have to go out and watch a 2-hour lecture? How can I like condense those ideas down into a small little subset of ideas or something along those lines? How could I teach you to ask better questions? How could I have you like help you be more outgoing, or whatever it is that you want to do? Like I'm thinking about these things constantly, and it's just like, what do I have to do to be able to get better? What do I have to do to be able to improve myself? What do I have to do to have better conversations, better body language, better tonality, better communication skills, better sales, better titles, better thumbnails? Even though my thumbnails are just basic screenshots, which to me, I like that a lot more, because some of you could be like, oh, that's not how YouTube works. But it's just like, dude, you clicked on the video, so clearly I got your attention somehow. So it did work. Like, think about it. I'm just over here doing the best that I can do, thinking about the things that I need to think about, and each day is different. Like today I ended up having to think about like, let me go back and analyze like all these different videos and all the other content that I made, and be like, okay, well I actually have improved a lot. Like I have got more views, I've got more hours of watch time, I've got more subscribers than I had beforehand. So I'm like, that's pretty sweet. I'm also like, well, this isn't paying the bills quite yet, which is why I'm like, well, I got that store on lock, so I got that up and running. I got a couple of videos planned out, and it's just like, okay, well, I guess the only other option that I can do is like keep posting the videos, for one, which I will keep doing, for two, do maybe a freelance job or something like that, which I don't really want to, but like these are thoughts that are constantly going through my head. It's just like I want to be able to just do what I want to do whenever I want to do it, which I can with these videos. And I've been working my balls off, dude. Like I've been like looking at like the thumbnails and the titles, like what's working, what isn't working, and trying to do more of what is working and less of what isn't working. That's what I did in sales, and I kind of seem to have forgotten about that for some odd reason. After I left, I just was like, when I learned about manifestation and I saw that things were just coming to me, I was like, oh, I can just sit on my ass and not do it, like, and just give the bare minimum. But like the reason why I believe I was able to manifest, and why I do continually manifest so much, is because I constantly show up, I constantly improve, I constantly innovate, I constantly am thinking about different ways and routes and areas to improve, and then something just magical happens. I don't know how it works. I don't really question it anymore. I'm just like, I did the reps, I did the tests, like I analyzed the things that I needed to analyze, and something came through. Like, that's just kind of what I think about. I was thinking a lot about like human psychology, philosophy, like what is a chair? Prime example. Like, am I sitting in a chair right now, or is this a seat? Like, what is it? I don't know. It's really up to you. It's your perception. And I think Haggard was the one that talked about that originally. I could be wrong with that, so don't quote me on that. But I do remember one of the famous philosophers did end up saying something along those lines. I think about probably a lot of things, but the main thing is that so before I used to think a lot about human behavior, communication, body language, which I still do to a certain extent, but now it's like I think more about like titles and how I can combine these different ideas to form something new, to create and give something back to you in a way that you haven't understood it or heard it in beforehand, so that hopefully maybe it can inspire you to go act in new ways that you weren't acting in beforehand. Because as I've touched on this, I believe in other videos that I have posted here, I haven't posted some of them because I wanted to change the approach to the channel. That's another thing that I've thought about. It's like we're all just actors in a play. Like we're all just playing a part, like whatever part it is. Everybody is their own main character. Some people just have different dreams than other people. Some people's dreams aren't as ambitious, but that's like, to me, and that's what I mean, like they're ambitious to you, they just might not be ambitious to me, just as my dreams might not be ambitious to you, but they're ambitious to me. it's really just our own perception. These are other things that I think about. I'm like, everybody's thinking about these different things. And I'm going to leave it with this because I need to wrap up. Because I'm about to go to the gym and I don't want to make this longer than it needs to be. And I mean, I can always make these videos as long as they need to be. You know that. That's what I always do. But I was watching Squid Games last night. Watched the whole series. It was great. It was fantastic. And I was thinking during the series, the episodes, it was just like, you can never make everybody happy. Some people want to play the game. Some people don't want to play the game. Like, that's just how it is. But you gotta let people do what they want to do, just as much as you gotta let me do what I want to do. Like, we both have our own rules, our own regulations. Everybody thinks that they know the exact thing that is right for the other person, but in actuality, the only person that truly knows what is right for you is yourself. And that's why if you can get clear on your thinking and you can identify what works best for you and the things that you do constantly think about, I know that your life will change in the same ways that it has been changing for me, because I just become more in tune to what is working, what isn't working, what areas I need to improve on, what areas I need to change, what areas I need to focus on in different ways. And from doing so, the rest of the world just seems to like fall into place for me. But it's just thinking the right thoughts at the right time, and the only time to think the right thought is at the time you need to think that thought. So the things that I think about are probably different than the things that you think about. A lot of the videos demonstrate what I do think about on a daily basis and what I have going on in my mind. It's why there's not really a super structure for this, because it's more just like me trying to share the things that I have going on to maybe let you know that you're not alone thinking the things or in the way that you think, because we're all in this together after all. So hope that helped. Hope there was something in there. I know there was. Yeah, I had to record this twice. The first one I recorded just seemed a little off, so I was like, I'm gonna try it again, and I feel like this one I did a lot better. So yeah, if you enjoy this, you can subscribe like I said, and see you guys in tomorrow's video. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching or listening. I have a feeling you probably listen to this more than watch it, which is perfectly okay. I also got a bike rack too, and I know I said I was wrapping this up, but I'm always hesitant now because it seems like I'm gonna hit something, but like the bike rack doesn't extend past the car, it just doesn't turn in the same way that my other car did. So it's a little trippy for me, but I also don't know how far I can go back. So I think we're good. All right, I'm gonna go do the gym. I went earlier today because I have some other work that I still need to finish up for tonight. So I'll see you tomorrow.